it happens a lot that when I see movies, I wonder about how did they do their color grading. It looks good, it feels cinematic, and I want to be able to do the same thing without using presets or buying plugins. So in this series, I want to see how easy or difficult it is to match some of my own footage or footage I found on websites with some of my favorite movies. So we got these two shots from Mission Impossible 6, where Tom Cruise slides down a roof. And then I got a shot from the Blackmagic website where a guy runs down an alley. This is still a log, so I'm just gonna apply a LUT here, standard Blackmagic LUT, just to see what it would be when it's like video colors. As we can see right now, it's not a very good match with the Mission Impossible footage, so let's change that. I'm not gonna use this LUT and just start from the log clip, so I'm gonna make a new version. Add a note, and then you can check out the shot we want to match. If we go to the waveform, we see that the dark parts go to almost 0, high parts are about 95%, and if we switch to parade, we see that the red channel is actually very low, which explains why there's this shiny feel in the image, mostly the roof. And then on top we see that the green has been pulled down, so we get kind of this pink feeling in the bricks and the sky. Also in the mid, kind of the same thing. Plus we also see that in the corners this vignette with a bit of softness or like blurriness to make us concentrate on the center of the image. I'm gonna start with cropping to give our shots a little bit of a more cinematic feeling. It's definitely going to help us to sell them the match. And now the grades. So we're still in log, so we have to start by adding some contrast. I'm gonna lower the shadows, up the high tones, also a little bit of mids. And then add a new note and pull down those reds so we get that shiny feeling, and pull down the green so we get that pink feeling we also saw in Mission Impossible. Now I'm going to add some extra contrast again in the first note so the image doesn't look that shallow anymore. Okay, that's not a bad start. We're going in the right direction. If you take a look again at the Mission Impossible shot, we see it's basically two main colors. If you go to vector scope, we have this yellowish red, basically pink, and on the other side, so the opposite color, we have this cyanide blue. While in our Blackmagic shots, we have a bit more colors. We have the grass, we have the container, we have the orange poles in the back. We're not really going to eliminate all those colors, but we're going to try to like pull them towards the same direction as the rest of the colors in the image. So we're going to try to make the green of the green grass a bit more yellowish, and then later on, probably at the end of the grade, we're going to try to make the pole a bit less orange and also pull that blue down in the back. Going back to Mission Impossible, we see that the skin tones are pretty saturated. They really pop. So we're going to try to do the same thing in our shot. I think best way here is to try to separate them, try to isolate them by a key. It's not easy because you see we have the wall, there's the tiles on the floor, there's something in the back that also is the same color as the skin, so it's pretty difficult to isolate. Definitely the wall we should be able to get them out of there because they can be annoying if you put saturation in there. So I think a vignette would help here, or a power window as it's called in DaVinci. And then I'm going to make it a little bit more red and more saturated. For the next node, we're going to add another power window because we're going to make that vignette. Also add an outside node, and then for like those blurry edges, I'm gonna turn down the mid detail. I'm not really going to add blur. It's more like a softness, and it feels a bit like a blur. Then I'm also gonna pull the mids a bit down, although we see that if you see in the shadows, it's more like it's a bit below the mids, I think. So I'm gonna do it there, and then the inside node I'm also gonna put it a bit more up. But then we see that we could use some extra deepening in the shadows. Yeah, that helps. Adjust it a little bit more. Then I think I need to brighten the overall shot just a bit more, because we see in the Mission Impossible shots the mids are like in the range of like 500, 700, while in our shot it's more like 400, 500. I'm just gonna pull the whole shot up, just gonna compare it, and I think it's actually pretty okay. If you look at the walls, you look at the sky, you look at the guy, there's still some stuff like the skin tones don't pop enough yet. I'm just gonna go back there and add a little bit of saturation and some extra red. And then as a final touch, I'm gonna try to desaturate those poles in the back because they kinda annoy me. I'm gonna try to isolate them, but it's kinda have to beware of the skin tones. Oh, yeah. Okay, that went pretty well. Then in the saturation, just pull it down. I'm just gonna do one extra thing, and that is pull the blue of that container down. And that's it. I would say it's a pretty okay match. If I would want to copy the grade of this movie for like my own stuff, then this would do pretty well, I think. And definitely if you compare it to the Blackmagic LUT, I think it's a lot more cinematic now and a lot better match to the Mission Impossible movie. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or great requests, just put it in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Thanks.